Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and this time I'm going to be covering the 1997 grossly underrated movie Spawn, starring Michael Jai White, Martin Sheen, and John Leguizamo. Of course, man, oh man, oh man, it is hard to believe that this movie turned 20 years old this month. I remember seeing this when I was 7 years old, my father opening day. I loved it then, and I love it now. I love this movie. I love everything about this movie. Of course, back in the day, I was a huge Spawn fan. I remember there was this one year I dressed up as Spawn for Halloween. I couldn't get enough Spawn. I loved it so much, and I loved this movie. Like I said when I first saw it. Of course, watching it, watching it now, 20 years later. Yeah, you can see the flaws and shit like that, but you know what? That just adds to the charm of this movie. In my opinion, Michael Jai White, hands down, perfect choice for Spawn. I love him as Al Simmons. I love him, and I love him as Spawn, and the whole practical, and of course the effects in this movie are done by K&B, which are of course Nicotero, Kurtzman, and Berger, which is a very prominent special effects team that's worked on a lot of horror movies over the years, and they did the effects for Spawn, and their practical effects of the Spawn suit looks phenomenal right off the page. Love it. And like I said, Michael Jai White looks awesome in that outfit. I love his portrayal as Al Simmons. To me, Michael Jai White has such a likable personality. Especially as Spawn, he's so likable. It's like that likable charisma just draws you right in, and he doesn't do he does, some nice stupid things, but you don't hate him. In the books, Al is written to the point where he's just a despicable human being. Now, there's a lot of shit he did in the books that makes you wonder. Just no wonder why Hell chose you. You're a fucking dirtbag. Now, in this movie, he's so likable, but the reason why Hell wants him because he's good at killing, and of course, Jason Wynn manipulates him into killing, doing these black op jobs. Manipulates him into killing people. Of course, innocent bystanders are also as the casualty, and that's of course what's sent him to Hell after he's double crossed by Wynn and Jessica Priest. And then he goes to Hell, and then of course Malboja. He makes a deal with Malboja. He kept in Darkness 5 for 5 years. Comes back to Earth. He finds out that in this movie his fiance is married to his best friend, and they also hint very strongly that their daughter is actually his daughter, which I like that idea a lot. And it's a shame no sequel came to this movie because this could have been a great trilogy of movies back in the 90s. And I think it could have really really did something for the whole gothic superhero. And instead of waiting all this time, Spawn should have been that launching pad. Unfortunately, it didn't do so good, which is unfortunate, and I understand why people hate it. But at the same time, I can't hate something that I love, especially something that is having fun with itself. You know what I mean? Like I said, Michael Jai White, such a likable charisma, and he's such a badass in this movie. And of course, his real life badassery shows on screen with his martial arts and stuff like that. And like I said, he really gives Spawn a lot of likable personality, and a very likable personality and likable qualities. And Martin Sheen as Jason Wynn is just over the top awesomeness. You can clearly tell Martin Sheen's having fun with the character, and I love his portrayal of Wynn. And John Leguizamo as Clown, aka Violator, is hilarious. In my opinion, John Leguizamo in this movie, this is one of his best funny portrayals I've seen him in it. And I'm actually a Leguizamo fan. I actually enjoy his work. I know he gets a lot of hate, but I'm not on that hate train because I really enjoy John Leguizamo, and I love him as Clown. A lot of his jokes, they do kind of fall flat, but there's also a lot of them that are really exceptionally funny. To me, the creme de la creme, there's two of them. There's this one scene where he is like a cheerleader, and he's spelling out Spawn's name. It's hilarious. Then there's the other one scene after he, as Violator, beats the shit out of Spawn. He does this little Spawny Boy 1, Violator 0. Huh, huh, huh. Nah, 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 nah. Huh. That whole thing is hilarious. and also a lot of the jokes he does regarding Wanda, who is played by Teresa Randall. And I want to go on record: Teresa Randall is a gorgeous woman. Good God Almighty, that woman is gorgeous. I want to put a ring on that finger. And I like her as Wanda too. Unfortunately, she doesn't really get nearly enough screen time, and really comes across as very underdeveloped, which is unfortunate. But I do like D.B. Sweeney as Terry Fitzgerald. Of course, for those who are familiar with the Spawn books, after Al Simmons is dead, and don't kid yourself, Al is dead. He's back as a Hellspawn, but he's deader than dead. He's not alive. He is dead. But Terry winds up marrying Wanda. Now, the reason why Terry marries Wanda is because that's the only way he could protect Wanda, is to marry her and make him his wife and stuff like that. And of course, they start a family. So I get that, and I like it. And even though they don't share a whole lot of screen time together, I kind of like saw the camaraderie between Terry and Al. And of course, they hint that, and of course, they do some throwbacks to Al, his time with the Marines, by Terry saying Semper Fi, and on Al's gravestone you see Lieutenant Colonel. So that's all fine and good. So yeah, I like all that. All that's great. And like I said, some of the CG in this movie, some of it is still, decent, and there's in areas you can clearly tell that it's laughably bad. But again, that adds to the charm. The design of Hell looks really cool. The cape, oh my god, the cape, Spawn's cape in this movie looks amazing. It's in CG, but it looks so good, and I'm so glad that they didn't overuse it, because it would have looked too bad. But there are a number of like these classic comic book pinup shots with the cape flowing in the wind. That looks spectacular, and you'll know those shots when you see them, because the camera dwells on it for a good 5-10 seconds for you to really soak it in, and I love it. I also like Nicole Williamson, the late Nicole Williamson as Cagliostro, and I really like that whole like mentor-pupil relationship that he and Spawn develop, and they kind of have a pretty good chemistry going on with that. And again, we didn't get a sequel, so we will never know just how good, how much further that chemistry could have been. But what we're given in this movie, I was really digging it and liking where it goes. I was digging the whole the whole subplot of Cyan possibly being hinted as Spawn's daughter. Again, I would have loved to see what that would have gone to. I also love the fact that pretty much at the end of the movie, Spawn, in the comic books, Spawn is obsessed with Wanda. And in the movie, it's there too, but it's not overly done like it is in the books, to the point where Spawn is like willing to break up Wanda's marriage in this movie. And this adds to Spawn's likability. After the big fight, after seeing Terry, Wanda, and Cyan together, he pretty much accepts the fact that he does not belong there anymore, and that he ain't gonna break up this family. And I love it. It's great. To me, that it symbolizes Spawn shedding that former life and accepting his new life. Not only as a Hellspawn, but going on that path to being a hero, because he renounces Hell after he defeats Violator at the end with the help of Cagliostro. And of course, he renounces Hell, and he's going to go on his path to being a hero. And again, I love it. That's what it should be. That's the way Spawn should be. He's a hero. And another reason why this movie is so underrated is because this is the first mainstream movie to feature a black superhero as a main lead, and it gets no credit for it, which is blasphemous. Because, again, solidly good movie. It has positives, it has negatives. The negatives, some CG is, here and there. Some of the acting could be subpar. A lot of characters are very underwritten or thinly written. But at the same time, you do have some really good action sequences. You do have Leguizamo, Martin Sheen, Nicole Williamson, and Michael Jai White. Those four actors, they bring their A game to the table, and they stand out above all the other characters because they're having fun with the material that they're given, and they have good chemistry. Like Wynn and Clown, they have a good antagonistic chemistry going on, and like I said, Spawn and Wynn also have a really good antagonist. All those four main principals together have good chemistry with one another at different areas of the movie, which is one of the biggest strengths of the movie, along with some of the action sequences. So yes, I am a fan of this movie. But to me, one of my favorite shots in this movie is the end, where the camera slowly panning up to like the top of a building, and you see all these rats climbing up and climbing up. Do you see Spawn pretty much sitting on his throne, pretty much proclaimed as the king of Rat City, which is what the alleys are called, especially the alleys where Spawn inhabits. It's called Rat City, and he's pretty much sitting on his throne. And I love that shot. You got Spawn sitting on his throne, overlooking Rat City. The cape is flailing in the wind, and it looks fucking breathtakingly awesome. So yes, love this movie. I give it a solid 8. I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Has positives, has negatives, but that does not affect my enjoyment of this movie. If the characters were written a little better and certain things were tweaked here and there, this could have been an easy 8, possibly close to a 9. But for what I got, I enjoyed the hell out of it. So yes, that is my... I'm done gushing over Spawn the movie. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.